Hey guys, Illuminator of Fortune here, and like I did with the other deck, this is the second one I'm filming. If you saw the other first, then you're in the right order. If you're seeing this one first, you're in the wrong order, but it doesn't matter. So today I'm looking at the Pirate starter deck for set 6, which is, it's not very good. I can't lie, the Inventor one has a lot more synergy. This one is all over the place, so I had to make a lot of edits to it, way more than the other one, so hopefully it's not a huge deal. But I'm going to go piece by piece, explain why I changed some things, and what I have in the deck right now, and why I have it in the deck. Okay, so first of all, we're going to start with Michael Darling. He's a pirate, and he's a 1-drop, and that's it. And then we'll go to Moana. Moana is one of the best cards in this set because of this 3-2 stat line on a 1-drop. Now, her effect, where she can't challenge unless you have a captain, is not super important. There's not a lot of times where you have captains, and there's not a lot of captains in the game, but just her questing and having a 3-2 body is all that matters. It's so strong because if they play a snake, they can't challenge into it, etc. It's gonna pause. It's gonna trade positively, and that's all you need. Then we have Felix. Felix here. He goes with all our locations. We don't have a ton of locations, but it's enough for him to trigger decently. And drawing cards is very important. So that's why he's here. He was in the original, and I just added one more. Then we have Rue. Rue I cut down, I think by one. When you play him, you can give -2 to a character until the next turn. It's not super important, and his actual stats are pretty bad. So while he is still a pirate and I left him in, he's one of the weaker ones. Then we have Pooh, and Pooh is actually really important. Having support is nice, and when you quest, you can play one less for a pirate. So if you have a 4-cost pirate, you can play a 4-cost on 3. That's typically your goal. Then we have Kakamora here. Kakamora, I added one because giving evasive until the start of your next turn is really good. Not only does this enable you to counter evasive cards, but let's say you quested with Pooh, played Kakamora for 1, gave Pooh evasive, and protected Pooh till the next turn, so you could quest with Pooh again, and use the effect once more. I think this effect is pretty good, although it only works on pirates, so you have to make sure you're using it on the right characters. Then we have Wendy Darling. Wendy's really good. It's one of the rares in this deck, and being evasive is super important. And also being a captain for Moana, and if you have another pirate, she gets +1 strength and +1 lore, so she could be a 2-2 evasive questing for 2. Then we have Owl. Owl I actually really like. Every time you ink, you can give a character -1 until the next turn. This can help, let's say Snake again. Knock down Snake to 2 strength so that Snake can't take out, let's say, your Kakamora. Just the slight math matters, or it could protect the owl itself. Then we have Jasmine, and every time she quests, your opponent loses 1 lore. This can help if you're a little behind and you just need to catch up, but she's still 2-3 that's questing for 2, and that's pretty strong. Now we have Tigger. Just being an evasive, like I said, really matters. There's not a lot of evasive counters in the other starter deck, and a lot of people don't play evasive counters. So the 0-4 body will protect him from steel removal, not so much ruby removal. But if you can manage to play an action or two this in a turn, he can quest for, infinite for however many actions you play, and that can be pretty brutal. And also he gains strength, so you might be able to just take out another evasive if you play enough actions. Then we have Vanellope, and I added this one, but it is in this set. And at the start of your turn, if this character is at a location, you draw a card and gain 1 lore. It's just really solid. It kind of forces them to remove it or the location that she's at, which is really important. Then we have Gopher. Gopher's just a 1/6 pirate. That's all that matters. Then we have Took. We had Rut and Took, but the support just isn't very helpful, so I just decided to go all in on Took and Gopher to split that up. And then we have John Silver, which I think is actually pretty good, enabling you to deal 1 damage to one of your characters to ready that character. So if, let's say, Tigger quested, you could deal 1 damage to him and ready him so that he wasn't challenged in the next turn. Then we have Kakamora, another character I think is good for this format. It's not good in constructed, but dealing 5 damage just on the spot can be really nice, especially if it lives. If you can manage to use Owl or something to reduce your opponent's strength, and the Kakamora can survive the challenge, then that applies a lot of pressure. It's also really good for taking out locations. Fix-It Felix here, hoping to beef up your locations, keep them alive. Also a shift target, or a shift for the shift target that we mentioned earlier. And just a big body, like sometimes you just need the stats. Then we have Jim Hawkins, which is the staple part of the deck. When you play him, you can search the top 4 cards of your deck and put as many pirates as you find into your hand. And there's a decent amount of pirates in the deck, so you should at least hit like 1 to 3. Then we have another big card in this deck, the 7-drop Moana. When you play her, you can move as many characters as you want to one location and gain a lore per character. Sorry, yeah, okay. Going into our songs, we have Be Our Guest, which is from set 1, so hopefully you can get your hands on it. You can look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal a character, and put that into your hand. It's really solid for finding the characters you need, and it can help you just have a free, just pay 2 ink to buff up our favorite Crow's Nest Dweller. And then we have I Won't Give In, which is very similar to Be Our Guest, but instead of searching the top, we can search our discard and bring back any character that we want that costs 2 or less. So if you want Pooh back, bring back Pooh. If you want Wendy, whichever one is fine. Then we have the Pooh Pirate Ship, which we can exert it and pay 3 to return a pirate character from your discard to your hand. So, just recurring those pirate characters, just replaying them, replaying them. It's a very important card in the deck. And to be honest, if you get a second one, add it in. I wouldn't add more than 2, but I think 2 is pretty good. Then we get 100 Acre Island. 100 Acre Island, during your opponent's turn, whenever a character is banished here, gain 1 lore. It's really good for aggro. It's good for Vanellope. It's good for Felix as a turn 1 location. There's a lot of uses for this if you're trying to aggro out this quest. Put characters here, they have to deal with this location or the character. If they deal with the character, you gain a lore. Then we have Ratigan's Party. I actually have 2 in. I don't know why I'm saying 1. If you have a damaged character here, then it gains 2 lore, which having damage in this starter format is pretty easy. And with, what's his name? John Silver, it's also pretty easy to have damage, but you could also add damaged characters like Mother Gothel, which is just, she comes in with damage, so it can instantly trigger the party, and then the next turn you'll gain your 2 lore. Then we have Skull Rock, our last location. Characters get +1 while they're here, and if you have a pirate here, you gain 1 lore at the start of your turn. So it just helps that math, you can do trades easier. Alright, well guys, thanks for watching, and hopefully you have good ideas to upgrade your pirate starter deck. And there's tons of options. I mean, Ruby Amber is a very flexible color now, and with all these evasives, it's really nice. Just add as many pirates as you can. More pirates is better. But if you haven't seen the other video, watch that one too. But either way, thank you for watching.